I've created a Google form that I'm going to show you how to use an add-on called Docupender with. So basically what this Google form is going to do is it's going to collect information, who's submitting the form, and there are two questions that I want the person to answer about their use of Google tools, and then I also have them choose a subject area. Now, when this information gets submitted into a form, it automatically goes into a Google Sheet, and this can be cumbersome to look through and read. For example, if you have a lot of text in these two answers, it's going to be really hard to read. Now, for this, I actually want information from this form to go to documents that will make it easier to read. But I want these documents to be based on their different subject areas. So if someone fills out the Google form and they chose that their subject area was science, all of their information would be fed into a table on this document here. If they chose English or history or math, it would go to individual documents. So what I'm going to do is I am actually going to first set up a folder in my Google Drive, which I've already done. It's called my Docupender folder. You can call it whatever you want. I chose Docupender for this because it's to demo Docupender. And what you need is you need to create the Google form that's going to collect your information. You'll have the spreadsheet form, and then notice I have these 7 other documents. These are all the same. They have the information up at the top, the little logo, and then they have the subject area. And so I have one of these for each of my 7 subjects. So I'm going to show you right now the screen that has my form, like the editable portion of my form. So you can see that I built a form that just has some info to collect first name, last name, the 2 questions, and subject area. Now, what I need to do to set this all up to work how I want is I'm going to go up to add-ons up at the top of the page, and I'm going to choose the Docupender add-on. Now it's showing up right here because I've already got this add-on and added it to my menu. But you probably haven't done that yet, so you're going to go to Get Add-ons, and when you choose Get Add-ons, you'll see all the different add-ons that are available, and you can just kind of scroll through until you find the Docupender add-on, which is right here on the bottom, or you can type it in as a search. Just make sure that you only type it in as one word. If you have a space in between doc and appender, it will not work. Now, I've already added this one to my form, so it says Manage right here. But what you're going to do if it's the first time, when you hover over the Docupender, you're going to choose the plus free. Then it's going to have a little pop-up that will say, are you sure Google wants to access all these different things? And you're going to say accept. Then what will happen is you'll have a little pop-up right here by add-ons that will show up, and you can just close that little pop-up. But now when I want to use this add-on, I'm going to go to Add-ons and Docupender, and it's going to open up a menu on the right-hand side of my screen in the sidebar. So you can see that it's right here. It's not completely open yet. It's still loading. And here we go. Now I've already started this for this document. So what you would see for step 1 is it will tell you to select a folder. I have already selected a folder, and what this folder is this is the folder that I showed you over here in my Google Drive. It needs to contain your form, your responses, and all of the documents that you want your information to go into. So back over here on my form, I'm going to show you how you can either create a new folder or you can choose a pre-existing folder. So I chose to use a folder that was in my drive, and so I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to choose different folder right now just because I already chose one. But what it's going to do is it's going to pop open all the folders that you have in your Google Drive. And when you see these folders, here's my Docupender folder. You don't want to double click on the folder unless you want to find a folder that might be inside of it. You just want to click on it once so that it's highlighted in blue. If I double click, it's going to open that folder, which won't let me select that folder. So again, just click on the folder once until it's highlighted in blue, and then press select down at the bottom of the screen. Now, it says form submissions will be added to the target docs that are in that folder. So all my form submissions are going to go to those 7 different docs, the science one, the history one that I had set up. So I'm going to press next, And now what it's going to do is it's going to ask me to choose a multiple choice list or checkbox question from my form, and I only have one of those, the subject area. And it will determine which documents are going to append with the form submissions. So what's going to happen is if I choose subject area, when I go over here to my list, notice that it has the titles of my documents. So I had one called history, one called science. Here they all are, arts, world languages, etc. So whatever your documents are titled, they're going to end up in your multiple choice or choose from list or drop down, whatever you have. You can also choose to add all of the above option. And so what that does is it adds this down here where people can choose all of the above. So I'm going to save and populate my selected questions, and it will put that information here because you might have had something else, just like an option 1 or something else. So it will delete whatever you already had with the titles of all of your documents. So now I'm going to press next. And this is where it asks me what form values I want to add to the document. So on my science document or on my history document, I don't want timestamp to be listed. That's not important for this. And I don't necessarily need last name. So I'm going to do first name, what Google tools you currently use, what tools you want to use, and then the subject area. I don't actually need subject area because it's listed up at the top of the page. So I'm going to uncheck that. Now for step 4, I can format how I want the appended responses to go onto the document. So I can have separate bulleted lists. So when person number 1 answers the questions, it will have bullets where it will have first name as the first bullet, the next bullet will be the tools they use, and the next one is the tools they want to learn more about. You could also do separate vertical tables. So each person who answers gets a table. Or you can do rows in a single horizontal table, and that's what I'm going to choose today, and you'll see what that looks like. Now, it says as a reminder, Docupender is going to run on your account when form submissions arrive. So I don't need to go in and run this or after I set this up right now. Every time someone fills out my form, it's automatically going to update. It's going to run the Docupender add-on. So I'm going to press Save Changes. If I ever wanted to stop this, because it is happening automatically, I could disable it, but I don't want to do that. So now we have Docupender set up, and I am going to go back to my form. So I'm going to just click on View Live Form. And here you can see my form, and I'm going to say, fill it out. What Google tools do I currently use? Okay, now when I choose my subject area, here I can choose the subject area that I'm working with today, science. But if some of the things that you're talking about are relevant to other subject areas as well, like mine is using Doctopus or Maps Engine, I can have this go to all of the documents. So it's actually going to share my information on all of the 7 documents that I have set up, because world language teachers would probably want to use Doctopus too, same with all the others. So I'm going to say all of the above, and then I'm going to submit. So now I have a link right here where in the bottom of my Google form, in my confirmation page, I actually typed in all of this information. What I have here, is, it says, thank you for filling out the form. To see the results as a spreadsheet, visit this. So as a demo, I want you guys to see what the spreadsheet looks like and how it's hard to read. Then to see the appended documents for each subject, I have little links here. It automatically made the web pages into hyperlinks. So now people can go and click on the arts document or the other ones. There will also be a link right here where you can watch this video if you need to know how to do this again. But any link that you put into your confirmation info actually shows up as a link, which is pretty cool. So now let's look at the documents. So I'm going to go over to science, and look what it did. It made a table right here. It said first name, what Google tools do you use, what tools do you want to learn more about, and we have a table right here all set up. So now the next time someone goes to enter in information and they choose science, their information will go below. I do want to just change this a little bit. First name doesn't need to be so wide. These might need a little bit more room, maybe that one a little less. And so now when the next information comes in, it's just going to be the next line right underneath this. If you look over at history, which I have open, same thing. It created a document because I chose all subject areas. The same information got posted here, which is pretty cool. So Docupender can be used for lots of different ways. I can imagine it being used for observations of students or admin observing teachers, and you can choose the name could be what goes to each different document. So there's lots of cool uses. Another one might be students doing a research project and they're finding information and it goes to different parts and they can share, collaborate together and all share the resources that they find or the research that they get. So Docupender is a great tool to use in your classroom.